Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Voyager class Inferno from Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy. And the first thing to talk about is the artwork. Really cool picture here of the robot mode and the fire engine mode. Since they are doing minimal plastic, you just see a little bit of the figure here and then the rest of the packaging is dedicated to this artwork. I kind of like the decision, honestly. I mean, it cuts down on plastic, which is great, and also you get to see more artwork on the packaging here, which I think is a lot of fun. Over here on this side, you have that kind of standard Kingdom mural that there's always on the side of these packages. You can see I like this shot here of the Galvatron becoming Megatron. I think that's a really cool shot. Not too much going on the bottom or the top, but if we spin around to the back, you can see pictures of the figure here. So you have the robot mode and the vehicle mode in this kind of cave painting aesthetic they have going on here, which is kind of neat. So, pretty much it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and get him out of there, and we'll take a closer look. So here's Inferno out of the box. He looks fantastic. And yes, we've already seen this mold once as Grapple, but I think we all knew Inferno was coming, and they've done a great job with him. Looks exactly like the original toy, just more refined with better articulation. Looks exactly like how he looked on the cartoon. It's a solid mold. It's a good quality toy. I think he looks fantastic. Let's take a look at that head sculpt so we can zoom in there. Really nice and sharp. The head is really nicely molded. Nice silver face paint. The blue eyes look fantastic. Autobot symbol there on the front of the fire engine looks really great. I love these little wings they give him on the side. I think that's really cool. They do unfortunately get in the way of the shoulder pads there a little bit. I guess I shouldn't really call them shoulder pads. They're these little pylons he has on top of his shoulders. You know, there's clearance as long as you move it correctly, but if you wanted to kind of put it out to the side, it is possible to run into that, which is kind of a problem. The head can swivel from side to side. Doesn't really have any up and down tilt, but like the whole piece can tilt. We'll get into that later as part of the transformation. So it's really just a head swivel from side to side. And then you do have swivel in the shoulder there as well as the tilt as long as you can clear the wing. You have a bicep swivel. You have maybe a little over 90 degrees there in the elbow. Nothing really in the wrist. It does swivel into the forearm as part of the transformation. You have a waist swivel there. Hips can kick out to the side, front and back. You have a thigh swivel. You have a knee bend. You can see there over 90 degrees. Well, slightly over 90 degrees. And then you have an ankle tilt. So really nice articulation for this guy. Really, really looks solid. He does have some different accessories. Now he comes with these little hoses, and you can kind of move them around however you like. I think the directions kind of have you just pegging them into the leg here, and they just come off. It's very simple. They just peg into one of these peg holes. So if you want to move it around, you want to put it on his forearm, you want to put it on his, shoulder up here, whatever you like. They're all the same size, but they're meant to be pegged in here on the leg. Now, of course, he has a small little gun right here, which pegs on to the side of his head right here. So he's got that little cannon right there. Then he has this piece, which if you swivel out either one of the hands, just swivels into the forearm like so. And then you can see that this just pegs into that very simply. So just like in the show, he had one hand that was a hand and then one hand that was a gun. And then he does come with this gun as well, so he can hold that over here in this hand. Now, you might be recognizing some of those accessories because, let's face it, his mold brother Grapple came with the exact same ones. The nozzle is exactly the same, and the guns are exactly the same. They just have you peg them into different hands, I guess, to make it look somewhat different. But yeah, you can see they're basically the same toy. I mean, they did a good job, like I said. I think it works for both characters. It is basically the exact same toy. You can notice here, though, that these were painted black with a little bit of this orange paint, whereas his entire section here, while also molded in black, because I assume they made it from the same plan as this one, then they painted that all red, as you can see right there. So I think that's kind of funny, because these pieces are all obviously molded out of red plastic. This is all red plastic, but these pieces are molded black and then painted red. And I'm assuming it's just because when they were reusing pieces here, because the molds are similar, so they just recast these again in black plastic, and instead of only having to paint a little bit orange, they had to paint the whole section red. I mean, it works. I think it looks good. And yes, it is different shades of red, but it's not so egregious that you really notice it from far away. I mean, if you're just looking at it like that, you really can't tell. But otherwise, you can see that they're pretty much the same. Obviously, the head sculpts are different, which I appreciate. But you can see kind of most of the detailing on the legs and the arms is pretty much exactly the same, even in the torso there. And then, of course, he has the crane while he has the ladder for the fire truck. And Grapple does not have the little nubbin here to peg that gun in, nor does he have the wings. So you can see that that's missing. But yeah, overall, you can definitely see a lot of comparisons, a lot of similarities since they do share the same mold. And they look great together. Really happy to have both of them. Very happy that they've finally gotten to Inferno. Like I said, I think we all saw it coming. I'm also expecting them to do this as Artfire, which is basically a white Inferno repaint that was a Target Master. So I'm assuming, I think we might actually already have news that that's confirmed in leaked listings. I think it would be hilarious if they decided to do G2 Inferno, because G2 Inferno looked exactly the same as G1 Inferno. Maybe it had a little bit of chrome. I remember when I was a kid, I had G2 Inferno, and it just looked exactly the same. So I just think that would be hilarious for them to put out G2 Inferno, and it's just the same toy, but like, you know, maybe these are chrome. That would be literally the only difference. I think this was white. I don't remember. But that would just make me laugh. In any case, it's a great little robot. I think he looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and get into his transformation. Transformation, not too difficult. You can see I started by removing the nozzle, removed the gun from his hand, and even removed the little gun from the side of his head. The first step is going to be to rotate that fist into the forearm. So that now they are both rotated inward. Then we're going to rotate them at the bicep toward the body 90 degrees and just kind of leave them straight down like so. We are going to come to the top section. You can see that there are little peg spots right there and little pegs on these wings. So you're just going to fold them against, I guess, the back of his head section. We'll just call it that, and they'll peg in there. No problem whatsoever. You can bring this up a little bit. You don't have to kind of snap it in place yet. Just kind of get it out of the way. And then this is going to kind of unpeg here, and this will fold back. You can see that there were kind of tiny little clips here, and they just kind of clipped onto the sides there. This whole section is going to pop out and de-accordion, if that is a phrase that I just made up. You can see that that was all compacted in. So we're going to stretch this all out like so. Bring that to about there. You're going to take the head and you're going to rotate it back 180 degrees like so. And then you can kind of bring this up and this will kind of click into place, and then you can just kind of sit this up here for now. You're going to bring this down. You can see that there is a large peg hole right there, and there's a peg right there. So you're going to bring this down like so. You're going to pull the feet away a little bit so that you can then bring them down and then just kind of straighten that all out just like so. Very simple. And then you're going to lift this section up a little bit, and you can see that there are two pegs right here and here. Now, if you're familiar with Grapple, these were much larger and bigger pegs, and they had trouble. Like, they would peg into the feet, but you didn't want to peg them in too tight because they would get stuck in there. A lot of people had reports of them getting stuck and breaking in there. They have since fixed that with Inferno, so you can peg them in without any worry. They will easily unpeg later on, so nothing to be afraid of there. That is good news. Then we're going to come up here to the arms, drop them straight down. This is going to open up here at this hinge. This piece is going to go inside here, so lift that around like that. Repeat with the other arm, and then the two arms will peg together right here, like so. And then make sure this is out of the way. And then you can see that there are two peg spots right here, and they're going to peg on to right there and there. As you drop this down, and then that all pegs in. And then that is your fire truck. Very simple. You can bring that down. Now I will say that this section, I really have a hard time popping this out. And I'm hoping it gets a little bit easier with time. But it's really stuck in there. I don't know if anyone else has this same problem. There we go. So you can hear it kind of like when you push it all the way in, it really clicks. And when you pull it all the way out, it kind of clicks into place. So it's a little difficult to get all the way in and out when it is fully clicked all the way in. I've unpegged the arms here. So let's get that done. If you have these pegged on, you can kind of, rotate these around to whatever you think kind of looks normal. So I'm going to rotate them around about 90 degrees clockwise. And that looks pretty good. You can bring all his accessories back in. You had that little gun that was near the side of his head. That's going to peg on here to be the nozzle for the ladder's water cannon. You're going to take this that was the hand nozzle piece, and you can see that there's a large rectangular peg slot right there, and that is going to peg on right here. So this just pegs onto the side of the ladder like so, and then come around to this side and you can peg his gun in. He has all these side pegs that you can just peg onto one of these pegs back here. And all of his accessories store in vehicle mode. I don't know why the arms do not want to stay pegged in. What is going on? Do I have something misaligned? There we go. Should be good. So yeah, rolls fairly nice. I might not have everything lined up completely, but for the most part, he looks good. Not a lot of robot kibble underneath, which is nice. You can move the ladder up and down there, and then you can move the gun just a peg so it can just rotate around if you want. But yeah, for the most part, he looks pretty good. Let's go ahead, zoom out here a little bit, and we'll bring in grapple. So you can see that they're pretty much the same size. Again, cabs are pretty similar. Obviously, the ladder and the crane are very different, and you can see the pegs here in the back. So I don't have the pegs in the feet pegged in all the way because they're a lot tighter, and I want to make sure I can get them out eventually. But I don't have to worry about that so much with Inferno, which is nice. But for the most part, they're very similar in design since they share the same mold. But they look really cool together. I like them a lot. So I think Inferno is pretty fantastic. Like, I really like him a lot more than I expected to. And that's not fair to say because I always knew I would like him. But I really, really like him. I mean, I've had the grapple mold. I liked it. I thought it was perfectly good. But there's just something about Inferno. I don't know if it's because I'm more familiar with this character, or maybe he got more screen time, or just, you know, over the years of Transformers, he's popped up more than grapple. But this is just a really great figure. He looks fantastic. It's kind of like a little mini masterpiece. I'm honestly really impressed with it. Again, not to say that the grapple version was bad. Maybe these colors just work better. I don't know. Something about this version of this mold that just works better than grapple, in my opinion. And he just looks fantastic. I'm really, really happy with him. I can't wait to get him again as Artfire because I know it's going to happen. So he's just got great paint, great articulation. Like I said, this color scheme just works. Maybe it's because the red's a little bit more muted than the bright orange, and so it just works a little bit better. I love the head sculpt. It's so beautifully painted. The eyes, the face, everything. It just really works. It all just really works, and I can't recommend them enough. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.